What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel. We are here for Mock Draft 2.0, our mid-season mock draft. On the weekend, I did an Eagles mock draft just because I wasn't sure if Philly was going to win or lose. I was pretty sure that they were going to lose to Seattle, but if they did somehow find a way to win, they would no longer have a high pick, and it would have just not been a fun mock draft for me. So I wanted to get that out of the way, and I said later on in the week, which is today, I would do a full first-round mock draft for all the teams, because I know there's a lot of fans that watch and support my channel, and I love you for it. So before we get into it, very quickly, obviously there's big news within the Madden world today that you can kind of hop in and play Madden on next gen or whatever. I was able to hop in and play it. It was a game between like the Ravens and the Chiefs. Long story short, it was fine. I wasn't overly impressed. I was like one of those things that had to impress me to make me switch from playing Madden primarily on PC and bringing over my draft classes and all my franchise saves over to Xbox. And in reality, it's not good enough to do that for me personally. I do think if you're on console though, it is a nice upgrade. I think it may be a little bit overproduced, but it does look cleaner. Saturation, the graphics look nice, it pops, but you know, everything else, a little bit gimmicky. The next gen stat stuff, it's very overproduced for my liking, but different strokes, different folks. It's definitely not bad, so go try it out. But for me personally, long story short, I don't think I'm still gonna be playing on PC. And then next year in Madden 22, we get all the upgrades on PC anyways. So with that being said though, it's time for the mock draft. Let's do it. Let's do it. Pick one. I'm not even going to take any longer. And I think for the rest of the mock drafts of history for 2021, we're just going to make this pick and move on, because the only thing that you need to talk about this pick is what are the Jets going to get for Sam Darnold. We know what the Cardinals got for Rosen. Was a 2 and a 4? I think that's the starting price for Sam Darnold. Maybe a 2 and a 3 potentially. I feel like Darnold might be slightly ahead of where Josh Rosen was in terms of trade value. If I am a team that's picking on the back end of this draft that needs a quarterback, I'd be looking at that. I'd be looking if I'm a Steeler fan, if I'm a Saints fan, Colts, I wouldn't rule out the Colts either. Like, those would be the three teams that I'd be like, maybe even the 49ers. I'd put, those are my four that could be in play for Darnold right now. But other than that, Trevor Lawrence, yeah, it's what's happening. Pick two, things get a little bit more interesting, because I do think things could potentially keep shaking up for the Jags as they do an overhaul. They could bring in a new coach. I don't think that if you're picking at 2 and you plan on bringing in a quarterback, you don't stick with Marrone. So depending on who they bring in, it's going to depend on what quarterback I think they go after. Justin Fields makes maybe the most sense, but I could totally see if they bring in a specific coaching staff. Zach Wilson, here. I know it's just cut off here. That's just how the screen best works. Zach Wilson could also be in play. I wouldn't be shocked if whoever they bring in the coach wants Zach Wilson goes to pick 2. But for right now, because there's just way too many assumptions that would have to be made right there, we'll just have them go with the slightly safer pick in Justin Fields. But I think either way at 2, Justin Fields or Zach Wilson will be the pick here for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pick 3, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. This is easy. They pretty much tried to do everything they possibly can to kill Joe Burrow this year, and they succeeded with the ACL injury. So let's get the best tackle prospect I've seen since Trent Williams was coming out of Oklahoma in Penei Sewell. Plug and play him at left tackle, kick Jonah Williams over to right tackle, and then literally for the rest of the rounds, continue to do nothing but build that offensive line, protect Joe Burrow. Pick 4, we have Dallas. I think Dallas here, I'm not doing any trades. I probably should stop being a cheap ass and just upgrade to the Draft Network Premium to execute trades. But I do think at pick 4, if I'm Dallas, this is the boy. Just generally, if I'm Dallas, I'm trading back. I'm looking at any of these teams back here. Chicago, New England, San Francisco, you know, maybe some version of this clump of teams here between Washington, Detroit, what they do with Matt Stafford, Atlanta, what they do with Matt Ryan. Any team that wants to get Zach Wilson, if I'm Dallas, I'm trading it right here. So that being said, staying on the board, they absolutely need to fix the defense. Defense has been horrific, and I think looking at this board, I mean, Parsons wouldn't be bad if you want like a 3 linebacker elite core, potentially, between Parsons, Leighton Vander Esch, and Jalen Smith. Maybe that can, like, you know, they all can kind of play off each other and elevate each other. Russo could also make sense at edge rusher, but they're getting value. Randy Gregory and Aldon Smith. So I'm going blue chip. They'll get Surtain. His dad was one hell of a corner. I think Patrick Surtain, you know, you look at Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs has had some peaks, a lot of peaks and more valleys as a rookie. There's been times that he's like, wow, that's a great pick there in the second round. There's other times it looks like he's been like the worst corner in the NFL. Surtain is very much better than Trayvon Diggs, a different tier of corner. I think he should be, as far as what I've seen. That's the one position though that I don't really have a handle on my rankings. Those videos might be coming out sooner than later, my positional rankings. I just have no idea yet for corners. But I do think Surtain is my number 1 corner, and therefore he'd be going to Dallas, even though I do think at 4, Dallas will be trading. Pick 5. We have the Chargers, and I'm going to have them go Gregory Rousseau, edge rusher from Miami. Melvin Ingram's not getting any younger, and I think long-term Rousseau have very high ceiling. I don't know what they're going to do with Ingram. I don't know what his salary cap implications are personally. Probably should before I make this pick. I just think long-term, Jerry Tillery's looking pretty solid right now. Was able to, flexibility. He can play DN, D tackle. You have Joey Bosa, who's a freak of nature. And just knowing Ingram is expensive and old and declining, Rousseau at edge rusher, getting a guy that probably has, I would say on the defensive side of the ball, Rousseau has the highest ceiling in this year's draft class. So you ease him in, you can rotate him in as a rookie, and then long-term, Rousseau and Joey Bosa could be the best 1-2 punch at defensive end in the NFL. So it's a little bit of a long-term pick. I wouldn't rule out here at pick 5 something off the board because if I'm ranking coaches that should get fired, Anthony Lynn is near top of that list. So, a different philosophy. They could want to change things up completely, but I think generally that is a very safe pick with Greg Rousseau. Pick 6 for the Philadelphia Eagles. You couldn't ask for a better board. I think these are the 2 players that I think you would want. Maybe Surtain, if he was there, would be the perfect option. We have 3 options at 6. I think there's 2 ways of looking about this. This is obviously going to be one of the longer picks that I talk about here. I think between Micah Parsons and Jamar Chase, I think Micah Parsons would do more to the Eagles team. Because our linebacker core is terrible. Alex Singleton looks like a solid NFL linebacker, which looks elite right now for Philadelphia because our linebacker core has been so bad. But Singleton's there. But you look at someone like Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is not only going to improve the linebacker core significantly, but having someone like that there is also going to improve every other level of the field. It's going to improve the front because he can rush the passer and can run stuff very, very well. And he can cover sideline to sideline. He can help the safeties out a little bit when dropping back into coverage. He will improve the team the most. But then you look at Jamar Chase. Philadelphia still very much needs a wide receiver. I mean, you think about Jamar Chase, hopefully that Fulham, once Alshon Jeffrey's gone, Fulham looks like the Fulham we saw for that terror, that absolute terror that he had for 3-4 weeks. He was unstoppable, like one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, production-wise. And then you hope that Jalen Reagor is not an absolute bust and he starts to look more like a first-round pick when we bring in a new OC. And different play calls, you throw in Jamar Chase, those are, on paper, that's like the best wide receiver core we've had, even trumping, I think, what we had the Super Bowl year. And I think what's going to make me make this pick, even though I think Micah Parsons overall would make the team better, I think with Jamar Chase, right now, priority number 1 for Philadelphia is not improving the defense. Defense is still, as much as all the faults Philadelphia has a team right now, the defense is still, fringe top 10. Jim Schwartz has still found a way, even though I think it might be time to move on with Jim Schwartz to just get fresh ideas on both sides of the ball. Jim Schwartz has that unit playing like a pretty damn good unit. It's not the reason why Philly are losing a lot of these games. The biggest thing for Philadelphia is fixing Carson Wentz. And I've been uber critical about how this front office has failed at about every level of trying to help and salvage Carson Wentz. Jamar Chase gives us the best chance at salvaging Carson Wentz. He's better than Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson has been on an absolute tear. Let's go. Jamar Chase, Philadelphia, pick 6. And hopefully that means less pick 6s for Carson Wentz. Pick 7. This is going to be a little bit of a hot take. And this is the first pick. This first 6, I'm fine. I don't really care what your opinion is. Well, I do. Feel free. If you're a fan of any of these teams, give me your opinion. Well, this is what I actually want to know. At pick 7, I'm going to have Carolina get Micah Parsons. Blue chip player. Last blue chip player you drafted was pretty damn good. Derek Brown. Gross Matos looks good. Jeremy Chin looks friggin' good. I'm having regrets because Philadelphia was supposed to get Jeremy Chin in the second round, except we get Jalen Hurts. But the linebacker core is still very bad. Micah Parsons, blue chip player. I think he can help pull, much like Philadelphia, pull a lot of those things together. Both levels of behind him and in front of him, he's going to make them better. But the obvious thing, we're sticking with Teddy Bridgewater with this pick. That is the one thing. I have yet to get a true read from the Panther fan base. Do you think, you rock and roll with Teddy for another year? Is Teddy your guy? Not saying Teddy's your long-term guy, but is Teddy your guy enough so that you don't go quarterback in the first round? That's truly like, I have no pulse within the Panther organization. My gut says, yeah. I mean, Teddy's done more than enough this year. Like, if you had a healthy McCaffrey, so you had a little bit more balance, a little bit more of an X factor on that offense, I think Carolina has 2-3 more wins, and they're still in the hunt for the playoffs. Like, what are they, 3-win team right now? 3-4 wins, somewhere in that territory. They're probably the best 3-4 win team in the NFL. Them or Houston. So I'm going to have them improve the linebacking core here. You're not going to be able to replace Luke Kuechly. not the same style of player, but same level of talent, I think, is Micah Parsons. But obviously, big discussions to be had. If you're a Panther fan in particular, is it quarterback or are you fine with this linebacker pick? Really, really looking forward to that. If you are a Panther fan, let me know your opinion in the comment section below. Pick 8, we have Washington football team, and I'm going to actually have them go and get Trey Lance. I feel like with Washington right now, I'll make a claim. I think Washington's going to win the NFC East this year. So that being said, they're probably going to be more so picking at 19. But as long as you're picking here at 8, you're looking at Alex Smith. Alex Smith, comeback player of the year, whatever you have. He's playing okay. He's serviceable. So Trey Lance more so fits the style of the quarterback that Ron Rivera's had the most success for in his career, which is Cam Newton. So assuming like that's the only information I really have on what direction they might want to go at quarterback, you can just, Trey Lance, if you want, you could Jordan Love him and just straight up redshirt him to Alex Smith. I don't think that's the case. But I do think you kind of more so Justin Herbert. Like, I don't want to actually put that out there because with how bad the Washington medical staff is, they literally will try to like stab to death Alex Smith like the Chargers did with Tyrod just so Trey Lance could play. But yeah, I think Trey Lance, I'm just gonna go off of what Ron Rivera's had in quarterbacks in the past, and maybe that's a little bit of a casual take. But they got to go a quarterback. Haskins is watch me flip Haskins for you could probably get like a fourth round pick for Dwayne Haskins straight up and bring in Trey Lance. Pick 9, Detroit. This is a very interesting pick. Pick 9 and pick 10. I don't want to dwell on it too much. I'm going to make the assumption for both pick 9 and pick 10 for this mock draft that they're keeping their veteran quarterback. Stafford is still there in Detroit, and we'll have Matt Ryan still there in Atlanta. Because I re-recorded this, and the first time I spent 5 minutes kind of breaking down what's going on with the quarterbacks here for both these teams at pick 9 and pick 10. Just get out of the way. For this mock draft, I'm going in with the thinking that both the veterans are still going to be there. So if I'm Detroit, I am looking at, you look at interior D-line. Tufele actually is a great pick. But with Pat, I don't know what scheme they're going to be rocking. Are they going to be rocking 3-4-4-3? You know what they do need, though? Playmakers. Jalen Waddle. Hopefully they re-sign Kenny Golladay. I think Jalen Waddle and Kenny Golladay. I don't know if they're going to keep Marvin Jones. If they do, I mean, they got Cephas as well. You can straight up just put him in the slot. But Waddle, the speedster, small, shifty speedster, I think the easiest way to describe Jalen Waddle, he's the middleman between Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy. Henry Ruggs was your outside perimeter speedster. That was the best thing. Jerry Jeudy was your route runner. Jalen Waddle's like that guy that's right in the middle. Still very, very good, even though he had an injury at Alabama this year. And I think that is a home run pick there for Detroit to improve that offense. Make it a little bit more explosive so that your big plays aren't just essentially limited to jump balls for Kenny Golladay. Pick 10, we have Atlanta. And when I look at Atlanta, I'm going to have them go corner right away. I think that they have to go on the defensive side of the ball. If they are, committed to keeping the, Matt Ryan, I think you look on the defensive side of the ball, edge rusher or corner is where I would go. I mean, you still got Kwity Paye there. Not a bad fit. I think I still just think when push comes to shove, you took a stab at it last year with A.J. Terrell. You're kind of going through the ups and downs, the learning curve of that, but you need more help back there in that secondary. More so, I think, than edge rusher. I think that, my line of thinking is that at pick 10, get the best corner. The better player, I think, between Paye and Farley is Farley. And then in the second round, that's where you can grab an edge rusher. You can get, a Rashid, a Boogie Basham in the second round. Farley in the first round, Boogie Basham in the second round. Right there, Carlos Basham from Wake Forest. Do it. I think that's the better than versus going edge rusher in 10 and then the second round trying to grab a corner. Pick 11, we have the Miami Dolphins. I'm not even thinking twice. Miami, we are going to grab you this man, Rashaan Slater. Tackle from Northwestern. I was not really buying the hype. He's a guy right now. No one's really sure if he's going to play tackle or guard. Perfect place. A perfect landing space for Miami because they need both. But there's this hyped up tape about him shutting down Chase Young last year when Northwestern played Ohio State. I do not go on my way to watch offensive line tape, but I did. I peeked it, and it was very, very damn impressive. So I think for Miami, priority number 1 is improving the offensive line. So that's why we're going there with Rashaan Slater at 11. I even think at pick 22, they could also go tackle. We'll see what tackles are there. They could go center. They could get Creed Humphrey. They could go guard, Vera Tucker, wide. Personally, we could go back-to-back O-line. I think that's what they do. I think that's the biggest thing for Miami because their defense right now is very, very good. But we'll see what the board looks like at 22 when we get there. Pick 12, we have the Denver Broncos. Corner, edge, tackle, linebacker. Well, assume a tackle. They could absolutely go tackle here. They just paid Garrett Bowles, but they need help on the right side, right tackle. Corner, well, they got an edge rusher. Kwity Paye. I don't know Kwity Paye's big enough to be a 3-4. Because I don't know. If 6'4", he's going to be 6'4", 280. He's like Rashaan Gary. But I feel like that he's going to be more so slated as like a 3-4 outside linebacker than he would be a 3-4 D end. That being said, and then like a corner, you have some solid corners. I think really these four guys, Kendrick, Wade, Stokes, and Horn, are all going to be considered first rounders, at least right now. But we'll go get a right tackle. We'll get Cosme, right? They got Bowles, who's having a breakout year, finally starting to look like a first rounder. Let's improve the rest of the offensive line there and get Cosme plug and play at right tackle. Pick 13, we have the Chicago Bears. I don't think a chance in hell that he's still here at pick 13, but I think this very well could be the landing spot because the Bears might have to trade up, and that is getting Zach Wilson. The quarterback from BYU looks very good. He's like, a little bit of Trubisky. Like, I think he has that little bit of scrambling, a little bit of mobility to his game, but he can actually hit the broad side of a barn. So there you go, Chicago. You get your franchise quarterback. Not going to dwell on it. That's a home run pick, and I do think Chicago, even more so than really, I think New England at 15 and 49ers at 16, like teams in this bubble that might need a quarterback. I think Chicago will be the most likely to trade up. But either way, they're landing Zach Wilson. Pick 14, we have the Minnesota Vikings. They need interior line, D-line, I don't think, why do they need interior? My nose is so itchy right now. I don't have a drug problem. Trust me, I'm good. I think, honestly, I would go, this is the board, I'm going to go completely off the board. Do I want to do that, though? Do I really want to do that? Kwity Paye's interesting. You pair two freak athletes at defensive end. Why is edge such a low one? They just traded Ngakoue. Am I missing something here? Who else out of Danielle Hunter, when they get him back, do they have an edge rusher that they're high on? But whatever. I'll plead ignorance and just say, okay, we'll trust this team needs section. And even though Kwity Paye's on the board, and I'm going to impulsively make that pick, if they're going D-line, Jay Tufele. I'm a huge fan of Jay Tufele. He can rush the passer from the inside. And that's a need. That's also a need for the Minnesota Vikings. I know that's a need, so I'll just put that fit right there. I'll put that into existence. But I would be intrigued with Kwity Paye. I'm interested. If you're a Viking fan, do you think edge rusher is a need? Would you have gone Kwity Paye here or not? Where would you go if this is your board? Pick 15, New England Patriots. Well, this is a home run. They're getting a top 5 pound-for-pound player in the draft, and yes, I am biased, but Kyle Pitts at tight end. He's the best, closest thing that they have had an opportunity to get to replace Gronkowski. They're not the same type of player. Gronk's a complete tight end. Kyle Pitts is more like, think of like prime Jimmy Graham when he was with the Saints. That's how I feel and what Kyle Pitts is going to bring early on in his career. So he'd instantly be the best receiver on the New England Patriots. And this is a team that very much values the tight end position. And I assume with how they develop players, they'll make them a little bit more well-rounded. They'll help with his blocking game. But Kyle Pitts to the Patriots, if you're missing on a quarterback, a lot of fans want quarterbacks and you might trade up, Kyle Pitts is a great consolation prize. Pick 16 with the 49ers. I think for the Niners, I would go corner. And I'm actually going to get Eric Stokes. I really do like Eric Stokes' game from Georgia, which pains me to say as a Florida fan. But he has everything you want for a boundary corner. 6'1", 185. He can make plays on the ball. He's a good enough athlete. And I think the secondary is the biggest upgrade for me if I'm a Niner fan, because that defense is very good. If they manage to hold on to Robert Saleh, who's probably going to get a lot of head coaching jobs, just continue. That's how you're going to win. That's how you're going to win with the defensive side of the ball. And if you're looking at a quarterback, I think the second round, a Trask Mac Jones, that is where I'd be looking for the 49ers. If I'm the Niners, I'd be confident that both Trask and Jones are going to be there. And I would just wait till the second round and get them. Unless you want to trade back from 16 to later on and then get that fifth-year rookie option for one of these QBs, I think Trask and Jones both would be pretty good fits for the 49ers. Both guys, I think, can be like Jimmy Garoppolo, operate within Kyle Shanahan's system. And, that's where I would go quarterback there for the Niners if they don't want to trade up. Pick 17. Yeah, well, the Raiders, this is kind of what I saw because it's just a perfect fit. We'll get Kwity Paye. They need edge rushers. Edge rushers are terrible. Max Crosby gets stats, sure, but generally their pressures are very, very bad, and Kwity Paye is an athletic monster, an athletic freak, very similar to Rashaan Gary. Hopefully it doesn't take him as long to put it all together like Rashaan Gary has for the Packers, but I think for the Raiders, you got to go best edge rusher on the board. The only other top edge rushers between Osai and Ojulari, they're more so 3-4 outside linebackers, so get paid. Pick 18, we have the Baltimore Ravens. They're looking for help here. This is a good board for Baltimore, honestly. They could go Devontae Smith, wide receiver from Alabama. Alabama is very much a pick for Baltimore. Or they could get Osai, edge rusher. Or they could get Ojulari, edge rusher. I think all those guys are in play. Given what I've seen, though, and interior lines, also something they absolutely could improve. But given what I've seen, I'll have them get Devontae Smith. Help them out at wide receiver there. Get some more playmaking ability. Just this is a pick that 100%, if you don't agree with the Raven fan, blame everyone that reached out to me on Twitter. Because I actually got a lot of response from Baltimore, and they wanted interior line or wide receiver, not edge. So we'll have to get Devontae Smith, who's jack of all trades and master of none at wide receiver, which is still very damn good. He's a guy that definitely, I can see as a 1,000-yard receiver in the NFL, and probably the best wide receiver, most talented wide receiver on the roster. No slight at Hollywood Brown, but let's be honest, he's a little bit of a niche player. He's a deep threat, kind of one-dimensional at this point. Devontae Smith can do a lot more and help with that offense right away. Pick 19, we have the Giants, and let's make Bengal really happy. We're going to have them get Joe Osai from Texas at edge rusher. That's what they need, man. They need to be able to generate more pressure from that linebacking core. Leonard Williams looks like an absolute stud this year. That front three is very good. It annoys me to say that they're very good as an Eagle fan, but they need help at linebacker, inside and or outside. But now that they're currently slated to win the NFC least, according to this mock draft machine, I think Osai there at pick 19 makes a lot of sense. Pick 20, we have the Arizona Cardinals. They also need edge. Ojulari would make a lot of sense, but I don't know, man. Are they going to pick up an option here on Hassan Riddick? So having finally starting to look like he's putting it all together. Corner, interior line. Look at the corners that are available. They have Horn, Wade, Kendrick. They need an outside corner because Pat Pete's getting old. You could go interior line. Still great board. Wyatt Davis, Veritaka, Creed Humphrey. All three guys I currently could see going in the first round. Trying to think. We'll have them get J.C. Horn right now, corner. This is an interesting one. Where would you go, Cardinal fans, if that was your boy? I think Horn has outside capabilities. The son of, is he legendary? But Joe Horn did his thing. Joe Horn with the Saints. We'll have him go corner. I think interior line, I'm ignorant. I'm ignorant to how well their interior line has actually been playing right now. So I'll just go and say, yeah, their defense is what I would say is the weaker of the two between the offense and defense. And that's being said, the corner's where they need to go. Horn, very good in the first round of pick 20. Pick 21, we have this is easy. We are going to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Donovan Smith at tackle is garbage. Hot garbage. So this is, I'm actually not a huge fan of these tackles that are still there. Given what I know, I'll go. I honestly don't know. This is like I'm out of my depth now when I'm talking about tackles. I haven't seen enough from Darrisaw. I know he's a riser right now. Duns is a big one. I'm going to get Redunds. That's the fact that they've. I'm getting this just from the Ali Marpet thing. Like they love small school players on the offensive line. So we'll have them, and they got Alex Kappa and it just fits how they built their line. They like small school players, be it Marpet. They haven't paid a premium price like that, but Kappa and Marpet are two of their better players at guard. They have Wirfs. Redunds gives you a chance to play left or right tackle, wherever you feel most comfortable putting Tristan Wirfs. I think that's the biggest need, because assuming Brady re-ups for another year, give him more protection. Continue to produce more. Continue to help out the run game. They want to run the air raid, so let Brady be able to drop back and be comfortable in the pocket. And that is offensive line, so we'll take maybe a little bit of a hot take here and get Redunds. Trey Lance's tackle from North Dakota State. Pick 22, Dolphins are back on the clock. We already had them go on the offensive line. I think, again, personally, I would go Wyatt Davis, but knowing what they need, we'll get them some X factor here. We'll get ETN. As much as you've seen some nice, solid committee play, Myles Gaskin, all those guys, get a game changer. ETN, home run hitter, help out the offense there, so it's not just all falling on the shoulders of Tua, and get a legitimate 3-down running back. Pick 23, we have the Colts. Again, they could be interested in a quarterback, but I really just don't think any of these QBs that are left sneak into the first round. So if I'm Indy, you can look at tackle for sure. If you really want to prepare for life beyond Anthony Costanzo. I think wide receiver is also very intriguing. Rashad Bateman from Minnesota. They need wide receiver one help. I think you can look in the secondary, more so perimeter corners. And if that's where you look, we'll get Kendrick. Kendrick here from Clemson. I think he's going to be a big-time draft wise. He's got to test well at the combine, converted wide receiver. And you hear that, you're going to get pretty much a bunch of comparisons like, whoa, the last big converted wide receiver was Richard Sherman. So you might get that there for Kendrick. I just think they need an outside corner. Boundary corner. Xavier Rhodes has been a nice reclamation project, but he's not in their long-term plans. Rocky Sin is solid. You have Kenny Moore, who's a really good slot, but I think outside corner is where they would go here at 23, if not wide receiver, and I think Kendrick would be a little bit higher on my board than, say, Rashad Bateman, who didn't look particularly impressive this year for Minnesota, but then again, that whole Minnesota team's been kind of whack. Pick 24, we have the Cleveland Browns, and I'm going to have them get Owosu Koroma, linebacker from Notre Dame, pretty much replace Joe Schobert. They don't really have Joe Schobert's replacement. There you go. There's a guy that's a modern-day linebacker, built like a safety, can cover sideline to sideline. It's what you want for your defense. Pick 25, Jacksonville back on the clock after getting Justin Fields, and I'm going to have them go Pat Freiermuth. Get your safety net at tight end. I don't think you really want to rock and roll with the average tight end play they have. You got to look like a stud here, James Robinson at running back. That's fine. You have playmakers at wide receiver that we know, DJ Chark, and I do think the gadget play of Laviska Shenault's only going to build and develop into year 2, but you need that tight end. And Freiermuth is, unlike Kyle Pitts, he's a complete tight end. He's very much, I think, a legit first-round pick, and getting that safety net for Justin Fields established right away as soon as possible, that is where I would go with Jacksonville. And they've been hurting for a tight end for a couple years now. Pick 26, we have the Jets. They got Trevor Lawrence. Now what is up? Well, let's go back to the big board here. I think when I'm the Jets, who's the one player that's going to help? What do we got at wide receiver here? Still a lot of value there. No one I'm picking high in the second round. I absolutely would be looking at a Rondale Moore, personally. Terrence Marshall could be a good pick. I think at tight end, Breven Jordan. I'd be talking late second, third round, somewhere in that range. On the defensive side, yeah, they could use some corner help. But then you got Brian Poole, right? He's a nickel corner. You don't really need Sean Wade. Sante Samuel's a nickel corner. You're good there. Linebacking core, again, more so second-round players. Edge rushers, Ojulari could be very interesting as an edge rusher. I'd say right now he's the most appealing player. On the interior, there's no real nose tackles that you could grab. There's still value in the second round. I think I would go on the offensive line. I'm looking at their team. I'll go Wyatt Davis. You got to protect Trevor Lawrence. You absolutely have to protect Trevor Lawrence. And the best at 26 is Wyatt Davis. Very much a blue chip guard, plug and play day one starter. And then go in the second round. That's where you look at an edge rusher. That's where you look at a wide receiver. But protect Trevor Lawrence. For the love of God, don't be like the Bengals and just hang your quarterback out to try to get hurt. Pick 27. We have the Tennessee Titans. They need edge, interior D-line, wide receiver. Honestly, if this is the board, I'm going to have them get Ojulari, edge rusher from Georgia. Now, I don't really know with their edge rusher. They got Harold Landry, who's been solid. But you could tell that they've tried to find that stability on the other side. They gambled with Vic Beasley. That didn't work out. I would guess that they're probably not going to long-term extend Clowney. I think Clowney's going to be heading to free agency. So with the assumption that that's what's going to happen and Clowney's bouncing, I think Ojulari, if he does declare the redshirt offer for Georgia, that is a pick. Got a lot of bend, twitchy player, high ceiling, very, very young. Pick 28. We have the Buffalo Bills, corner, linebacker, tackle, edge rusher. Okay, so given that this is what they're looking for, corner, tackle, line. I don't know why they want a linebacker. I'd be fine with Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds, and AJ Klein's been serviceable, more than serviceable. Edge rusher, yeah. Away from Penn State could make some sense if he does declare, even though I'm not super on board with him declaring yet. I think when you look at corner, you have Trey. Who's their slot corner right now? Trey White outside. I could be. Go Sean Wade. Play him as a slot corner. You can move him to safety if you really want to. Kind of have like a Micah Hyde transition corner to safety. We'll just go best player available, pound for pound. Sean Wade, slot corner. Play it. Put him there with Tre'Davious White. You gotta be good. You gotta be fine. Pick 29. Green Bay. Let's get him some wide receiver help. Allow him to get Rashad Bateman. There you go. Plug and play. Wide receiver one. I'm personally, you just gotta look at Rashad Bateman last year. Not this year. It wasn't so hot. But last year, very much looked like a first-round wide receiver. And even though you got Ottman Bell, I think, is their wide receiver too. I personally was more impressed with him when I watched him play. Bateman is still really good. I think he'll improve it, at the combine and stuff like that. He'll reestablish himself as the bottom tier first-round wide receivers. And Green Bay absolutely needs to continue to bring in wide receiver help because it can't just be Devontae Adams. Pick 30, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. Why is wide receiver there for them? Isn't Sammy Watkins the only guy on the board? They still got Tyreek. They still got Nicole Hardman. I think that's a little bit of a luxury pick. Interior line. Who's their center? Do they have a good center? I'm trying to think. Who the fuck is the Kansas City Chiefs center? I don't know who the center is, so I'm gonna go ahead and get Creed Humphrey there. Just go best player available on the offensive line and get that chemistry. A center and a quarterback's chemistry needs to be established. I'll plead ignorance to say I cannot tell you who. Like, I know they had like a couple different guys playing center. Like Vera Tucker, I think one of those two. That's the pick. Either Humphrey if they need a center, or Vera Tucker if they need a guard. But at the top of my head, sure, we'll go with the guy I think is a little bit better player in Creed Humphrey. Straight up blue chip prospect. Pick 31. We have the New Orleans Saints here. Quarterback could very well be in play. Especially if they want that fifth-year option. Zaven Collins from Tulsa, 6'4". I mean, this guy's a gigantic monster. 6'4", 260 at linebacker. That definitely could be in play. Into the secondary. Good gamble on the outside. I think Mukwama would be an interesting fit there. Big 6'4" outside corner. Wide receiver could also be in play. Get one of the LSU boys and Terrace Marshall. It's just all what goes down at quarterback. Does Drew Brees retire? If Drew Brees returns, I think, again, you could kick the can down the road of not investing a first-round pick in the quarterback spot. You could just continue to be that team that houses the castaways, like Jameis Winston. Just get guys that, on those one-year deals, that you get that insurance policy until you have the right fit at quarterback that falls to you in the draft. So that being said, I'm going to make the assumption. I'm just going to make the assumption that Drew Brees, given everything that's happened this year, Drew Brees will come back for one more year, and I'll have them get the LSU boy, Terrace Marshall, a wide receiver. Pair him with Mike Thomas. You got, obviously, I think it's just you put him in place of Traquan Smith, who's not really taking his game to the next level. And assuming that Drew Brees is still there. Pick 32. Last pick. It is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And let's go back to the big board here. We're from the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm looking at this. They need tackle help, and there's 3 tackles right there. So I'm going to go with the guy that I had the highest rated out of all of those tackles. And for me, in my money right now, just because I think Mayfield might have a little bit risk of kicking inside the guard, I'm going to go with Eckenberg, tackle from Notre Dame. There you go. Improve the offensive line there. Pittsburgh absolutely, again, could be in play for a quarterback. I think if I'm Pittsburgh and they're going to be on par to pick here in the bottom tier, I would be trying to just get Sam Darnold. That'd be the direction I would go at this point. Versus, say, the quarterbacks that were available at 32, Mac Jones or Kyle Trask. So there you go, fellas. That is my mock draft for the 2020 NFL Draft 2.0 in all of its glory. Let me know what you guys feel about the picks here. Did you like my pick? Did you hate my pick for your team? Where would you have gone different? And again, I think there was, what teams did I really want to know? I really wanted to know on the Cardinals. I have no real idea where Arizona should have gone at 20, to be completely honest with you. I have no idea where, most importantly, I think the biggest pick would have been Carolina at 7. Do you go quarterback? Do you stay with Teddy and get a Micah Parsons? Or is this year absolutely where you want them to go and get a Zach Wilson type, if he's still there at 7 without having to trade up? Well, let me know what you guys feel about it in the comment section below. We'll be back tomorrow with episode 5 of the Madden 21 Philadelphia Eagles main channel franchise. I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching. First time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Lots of draft content coming soon. I'm going to drop my positional rankings as I finish them, and there'll be more mock drafts and all that good stuff. Hit the like button. A thumbs up is very much appreciated, as it does help the videos in the old YouTube algorithm. And I'll see you guys back here tomorrow with some Eagles franchise we gonna take down. We gonna take down the Green Bay Packers, baby. Trust me, it's gonna probably not happen. Thanks for watching, and peace out.